Mexico, the land of enchantment. You're here with Strizzy, a Strizzy report. If you're not already, why haven't you gotten our free newsletter? It drops in your email every Sunday morning. All you have to do is head over to StrizzyReport.com. Did you know New Mexico has the highest percentage of Hispanic and Native American residents in the U.S.? The state has more PhDs per capita than any other due to its labs and research facilities. It was the birthplace of the atomic bomb during the Manhattan Project at Los Alamos. UFO buffs flocked to Roswell, famous for the 1947 incident that sparked alien conspiracies. Alien, baby. Where are the aliens? Did they leave? They're not coming back? What's going on? All right. So, you remember those old black and white videos where everybody was at Roswell, just, with their alien suits and shit like that? That was funny. All right. So here we go. I driven through the state. I went through Albuquerque. I think I've hit Santa Fe, but I actually went off of the beaten path here on 40, Route 66, and I went on some long road. And in this road, it was just 4 hours before I got into anything. When you got that little sugar rush, you want some candy, some water. Where's the convenience stores? Growing up in, of course, Jersey, been in cities like Boston, Philly, New Haven or whatever. You see a lot of anything you want is right there. Okay. You want 7-Eleven, it's right there. You want this, it's right there. You need a gas, it's right there. Man, I don't know where I was. I think I might have been off a 10 somewhere because I was headed to Texas. And I just bucked up on, I don't know if I was on a reservation. I don't know what this was, but it was like a town that was left in like the 1900s. The one gas station. And it's just one strip. I don't really see where people live. It was just one strip. You got the gas station, the propane store, the one mechanic, the one bar or something, and then you're gone. And then to get into that area, you have to slow all the way down. You got to go like 20 miles an hour. Because I've noticed me and the other cars are driving pretty quickly. Then all of a sudden they slow down to like a crawl. And I'm like, oh, we must be coming up on another town 4 hours later. So that's where I stopped. And I was like, damn, the access here, it's crazy. It actually looked like they were happy, but it looked very poverty stricken. Like there wasn't a lot of activity going on here. So let's start it with taxes and cost of living. Income tax is progressive from 1.7% to 5.9%. Sales tax is technically a gross receipt tax in New Mexico. Statewide base is 5.125%, but totals can reach 9.3% with local rates, and that's pretty high. Property tax is 0.8%, well below the national average, and it's one of the lowest in the U.S. Corporate tax is flat rate, that's 5.9%, and that's for most business income. The tax burden overall in the state of New Mexico is 38. That's a low overall burden, mostly due to low property taxes. And as we can see, is that if the property tax is low, that kind of has a big push with the tax burden, right? The income tax really, and between the income tax and the property tax, that really has a hearty, I want to say like a hearty part, right, in the overall tax burden if a state is affordable or not. So here we go. For cost of living, it's ranked number 35, and that's well below the national average. The cost of living salary that somebody says, I don't know who says, okay, they, 42 to 50,000, and that's enough for a comfortable lifestyle living in New Mexico. The median home price is 294,000. Again, that's lower than the national average, and it varies by city. Here's where it's gonna either make or break you. You got the hot air balloon thing going on every year in New Mexico, so it's beautiful for that. But then when I was driving through there, the wind was whipping, gave me whiplash. The way that wind was whipping, I was actually like, I would never go in a hot air balloon here. It's like 70 miles an hour wind. So to see that, and I'm sure it's not all the time, but of course when I go through somewhere, I always like highlight what I experience, right? So the weather in New Mexico it's dry, it's desert climate with plenty of sunshine year round. In the southern parts of New Mexico, it's hot and arid. in the northern parts and higher elevations, that could be cooler and snowy winters, actually. Overall, it's one of the sunniest states in the U.S., averaging 280 plus sunny days per year. So if you like the sun, come for the fun in New Mexico. Okay, median home prices, as we mentioned, is lower than the national average, sitting at $294,000. If you're a buyer, low property taxes and affordable homes make this attractive, especially for retirees and remote workers. If you're a seller, steady demand, especially in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, with rising prices over the past 3 years. Albuquerque, the rental rates, $1,400 for a 2-bedroom, Santa Fe, $1,800 for a 2-bedroom, and Las Cruces, it's $1,200 a month. Best places to live: Santa Fe, art, culture, retirees, great outdoors. Okay, Albuquerque, urban living, affordable, growing tech and film industries. Las Cruces is a college town, strong healthcare presence, and Rio Rancho, suburban growth near Albuquerque. Okay, not so good areas, you're looking at southern Albuquerque, which struggles with higher violent crime, certain rural counties with limited access to healthcare and economic stagnation. And I believe that's one of the ones that I was in. I was in this rural area, and I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. I wish I got the name of that place. Here goes the job markets and what's the top industries in New Mexico. Energy, huge. Oil, gas, renewables, aerospace, tourism, arts, defense, film production. Film production is huge here, and there's a crazy tax credit for film and clean energy startups. Job opportunities increasing in renewable energy, government contract work, and film again. Okay. Top employers, you got Sandia National Laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory, University of New Mexico Presbyterian Healthcare Services, and Intel. Okay. Recent economic and real estate news coming out. Santa Fe home prices are up nearly 6% year over year, driven by out-of-state buyers. Where are those out-of-state buyers coming from? I'm going to let you know here shortly. Film production jobs are booming thanks to state tax incentives. So Netflix got smart. NBC Universal is hip because they're like, okay, I'm going to go to a place with the film incentives. And for anyone that's out there that's thinking about starting a film or going into film production or media, why not, right? And we think about it, and I did a whole video on New Mexico before, by the way, guys. So I'm actually doing this a second time. The mic was not on, so I'm doing it a second time. And I really want to capture what I just said before. And what I said was I looked up what constitutes as you categorizing yourself as a production studio or a production house or a production company. And it's a studio that creates works in the fields of performing arts, new media art, film, television, radio, comics, interactive arts, video games, websites, music, and video. So if you got a YouTube channel, if you're thinking about starting a business, and you do this already, you can't just think that that's for the corporate fives, that's for the Netflixes, that's for, the news networks, that's for the companies with a big round of funding. It's for you as well. So get in where you fit in. If you do this, you does this. Okay. All right, let's continue. Clean energy growth is surging. New Mexico ranks in the top 10 for solar capacity per capita. There's a 3,000% tariff on South Asian, solar panels and things like that now. So we'll see where that's going to go here in the near future. Intel is investing $3.5 billion in its chip plant in Rio Rancho to meet global demand. Population growth is slowing in rural counties, but holding steady in metro areas. They're moving out of these rural counties with no access. It's obvious. Okay. Crime. Albuquerque has one of the highest violent crime rates per capita among major U.S. cities. Rural and suburban areas are safer with lower crime. The politics, it's solidly Democratic in recent elections, but rural regions remain more conservative. Okay, progressive stance on environmental regulation, education funding, and legal cannabis. Where are people coming from? They're coming from the almighty land of California. They're coming from a hop and a skip over from Colorado and a plane ride over I'm sorry, from Arizona and Colorado. Damn, I didn't get to hit my punchline there. Mostly retirees, mostly artists, and remote workers. Remote workers, like I said, you have the leverage. You're able to move, groove where you see fit. And I think, and especially in America, you have so many options, so many different landscapes, terrains, regions, so much places offer so many different things. I think that you got a superpower, right, as a remote worker, and you could really look for places that benefit you, benefit your family, benefit what your needs are, whether your needs for healthcare, whether your needs for education, whether your needs for community and school, whether you need for lifestyle and children, whether you need like more outdoors, whether you need, whatever it is that you need, you could look for it. But that all could be backdropped with affordability, reliability, access, all of it. So this is why I created the channel, to show you these little plugs on where to go. And then we could even get deeper. If you sign up to the Strizzy Report, the Smart Movers Club, go over to StrizzyReport.com, drop your email in. You get that information on a weekly basis. The population grew by 1.5% from 2020 to 2024. That's centered in metro regions. The rural areas are losing population due to limited economic opportunity. They're not going to stay. All right. So that's the full breakdown of New Mexico, where desert beauty meets scientific innovation. If you're after a low cost of living, rich culture, and room to breathe, this is the state to watch. So you can get more data every week through StrizzyReport.com. Other than that, subscribe. Let me see if you're in New Mexico, thinking about going, thinking about leaving, what kind of experience you had in there. Have you been in a hot air balloon? That'd be fun to hear your story. Peace.